They won't remember your paycheck. They won't recall how many followers you had. And they certainly won't speak of how perfectly polished your image was. When the dust settles, when the lights go out, and when your name echoes not on screens but in the stories told around dinner tables, what will matter is who you were when no one was watching. What truly matters in the end is not the applause, but the depth of the echo you leave in others' hearts. We are not here merely to exist. We are not born simply to survive, to float through routine and vanish into mediocrity. No. We are here to forge meaning through fire, to step into chaos and bring forth order, to rise from limitation and turn struggle into soul. Because meaning, real, soul-rattling meaning, is not handed to you. It is forged in pain. And that is why your pain matters. When the world tells you to numb it, run from it, scroll it away, listen instead to what it's trying to teach you. Your suffering, if you're brave enough to face it, is the raw material of your greatness. Because from suffering comes strength, from chaos comes character, and from loss comes the only clarity worth having. This is not a feel-good fantasy. This is not about chasing comfort or instant success. It is about building a life that can stand the weight of existence. A life grounded in values deeper than convenience. A life rooted in truth so profound that it cannot be shaken by public opinion or personal failure. Look at the giants. Carnegie, who worked in a cotton factory as a child. Lincoln, who lost more elections than he won until he led a nation through its darkest hour. Edison, who failed 10,000 times just to give you the light. These men weren't chasing pleasure. They were chasing purpose. And they found it by walking willingly into difficulty, not away from it. The problem with this generation isn't that we're weak. It's that we've been taught weakness is normal, that it's fine to give up, that mediocrity is acceptable as long as it's popular, that emotional safety is more important than emotional strength. But you weren't born to be safe. You were born to be dangerous, not reckless, but capable, not cruel, but powerful. To stand firm when the world trembles, to speak truth when lies seduce, to carry weight not because it's easy, but because it's right. You are not your comfort. You are not your job title. You are not the sum of what you consume. You are what you build from the wreckage of your failures. You are the courage it takes to get back up. You are the voice you don't suppress when everyone else falls silent. And if you don't know what matters in the end, let me tell you this. It's how many people became better because you didn't quit. It's how many lives you touched because you dared to speak. It's how deeply you aligned your life with what you believe, not just what you pretend to believe. You want to know why most people never feel alive? Because they haven't committed to anything real. They want passion without pain, growth without sacrifice, or identity without responsibility. But responsibility is the gate. It is the price of admission to a meaningful life. The moment you decide to carry more than your share, to speak up when your voice shakes, to stand straight with the world on your shoulders, that's the moment your life begins to matter. Meaning isn't found, it's built, brick by brick, day by day, with the choices no one sees. When you wake up tired and still go, when you forgive even though the world says hate is easier, when you act with discipline when no one else around you is, that's power, that's legacy. And that's what separates those who are remembered from those who are merely recorded. So stop waiting. Stop waiting to be ready. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the fear to go away. Fear doesn't go away. It's meant to be a companion on the road to transformation. What if Edison had waited for courage before inventing? What if Lincoln had waited for certainty before leading? What if Disney had waited until people stopped laughing at him? They didn't wait because they knew something you've forgotten. Inaction is the fastest path to regret. And regret is the most expensive pain of all. Regret is the phantom that haunts the edges of your silence. It grows where you held back, where you played small, where you betrayed your potential for the illusion of safety. but you were not built for cages. You were not designed for quiet despair. There is something ancient in you, something resilient, something divine, yearning to be awakened. And it begins with mindset. Because everything you experience, everything you build, everything you destroy or restore, it all flows from the way you think. Not the fleeting thoughts that drift through your mind like clouds, but the architecture of belief that you carry like your bones. Your mindset is the filter through which reality passes. It is either a fortress or a trap. Too many people live like prisoners of their own thoughts. They've been conditioned to believe they're not enough, not capable, not worthy. Not by truth, but by repetition. And what is repeated becomes familiar. And what is familiar becomes truth, even if it's a lie. You have to break that spell. No one will do it for you. The world doesn't reward potential, it rewards action. It doesn't elevate intentions, it elevates impact. And impact begins with clarity. What do you stand for? What do you value more than comfort, more than approval, more than the fake applause of the crowd? If you cannot answer, then your life will be steered by winds you cannot control. And make no mistake, something will control you. If you don't choose your values, your fears will choose them for you. So get clear, brutally clear. Not about what looks good on a vision board, but what you would bleed for. Because clarity gives you power. And without clarity, your energy is scattered like light through a cracked lens, never sharp, never focused, never transformational. Clarity leads to purpose, and purpose is the fire. Without it, you will burn out. With it, you can walk through hell and call it training. Purpose doesn't mean chasing fame. It doesn't mean waiting for some divine lightning bolt. It means aligning your actions with your values, every single day, whether it feels good or not. And once you have purpose, you need discipline, not motivation. Motivation is for amateurs. Discipline is for warriors. Motivation asks, do I feel like it today? Discipline answers, it doesn't matter. If you want to matter, be disciplined. Discipline is not a prison. It is the path to freedom. Because without discipline, you're a slave to impulse, to distraction, to mediocrity dressed up as convenience. Discipline is the bridge between desire and destiny. No, and it is built with the bricks of your daily decisions. Get up early. Speak with integrity. Train your body, not because you hate it, but because you revere it. Choose your food like it's fuel. Choose your words like they're spells. And choose your time like it's gold, because it is. Every second wasted is a second stolen from the life you could have lived. And in the end, the one thing you cannot buy more of is time. When you realize that, you begin to move differently. You stop arguing with small people. You stop defending your dreams to those who gave up on theirs. You stop trading your peace for popularity. You start walking with intention. You start acting like someone whose life actually means something. And when you start living that way, something changes. People feel it. You walk into a room, and without saying a word, your presence speaks. Because purpose doesn't need to shout. It resonates. It vibrates. It moves things. But purpose without action is just fantasy. You can read every book, watch every video, write every goal on your wall. But if you don't act, none of it matters. Take the step. Even if it's small, even if it's messy, even if it scares the hell out of you, take it anyway. Because action is the antidote to fear. Action is the proof of belief. Action is the hammer that breaks the walls of who you were so you can step into who you're meant to be. Stop rehearsing. Start living. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a powerful reason. And if your reason is rooted in truth, it will carry you further than any shortcut ever could. But action, even with purpose, means nothing without resilience. Because life will hit back. It will knock you to your knees, break what you thought was unbreakable, and test every fiber of who you are. You will lose. You will be misunderstood. You will be betrayed, forgotten, laughed at. And still you must rise. Because resilience isn't the absence of failure, it is the mastery of response. It is what separates those who only dream from those who build legacies. The resilient don't pray for the storm to pass. They become the kind of person who walks through the storm and learns to dance in the rain. That's what Edison did when his lab caught fire. He stood in front of the flames and said, "There's value in disaster. All our mistakes are burned up. Thank God we can start anew." That's what Lincoln did when half the country hated him. That's what every man or woman who ever changed the world did when everything seemed lost. They didn't break, they rebuilt. They didn't run, they recalibrated. And so must you. Resilience means adaptation. You cannot control what happens, but you can control what it becomes in you. You can let failure humiliate you or educate you. You can let heartbreak harden you or expand you. You can let criticism silence you or sharpen your voice. Everything in life either breaks you down or builds you up. But here's the truth. What it becomes depends entirely on your decision. Because pain is a currency. You can spend it on excuses or you can invest it in growth. But you cannot avoid spending it. And the ones who rise, who overcome, who evolve, they are the ones who turn suffering into wisdom, who turn wounds into weapons, who learned how to fail forward without losing their fire. And when you start living like that, something shifts in the soul. You stop needing everything to be fair. You stop needing others to understand you. You stop needing the world to agree, because you found something stronger than approval. You found conviction. Conviction is the quiet roar inside the warrior. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't wait for applause. It simply moves forward, regardless. And from that place comes learning. Not academic learning, not textbook facts, but deep, experiential, life-altering learning. You begin to realize that life is the ultimate teacher and suffering is your favorite classroom. You learn humility from your failures. You learn patience from your delays. You learn courage from your breakdowns. You learn that no one is coming to save you. And that's the most liberating lesson of all. Because once you stop waiting to be rescued, you realize you had the power all along. You become your own revolution. You write your own doctrine. You define your own worth. And in that process, something sacred begins to emerge. Gratitude. Not the gratitude of cliché affirmations. Not the shallow be positive slogans. But the raw, grounded, unshakable gratitude of someone who has suffered and still smiles. The gratitude that says, I may not have everything I want, but I'm becoming everything I need. I may be bruised, but I'm still breathing. I may be uncertain, but I'm not afraid to begin again. This gratitude is not weakness. It's power. It's the lens that turns every obstacle into an opportunity. It's the state of mind that keeps you present even in chaos. Because when you are grateful for the struggle, you've already won. And when you live from that place, when belief, discipline, action, resilience, and gratitude align, you become unstoppable. Not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. And strength is the ultimate wealth. Not money, not status, not influence, but the kind of strength that allows you to carry others when they fall, to speak when it costs you, to stand when it's lonely, to build when everything is broken. Because in the end, that's what will be remembered. Not your resume, not your trophies, but your strength, your impact, your ability to light the path when others walked in darkness. And here's the paradox of it all. The more you give, the more you grow. The more you serve, the more you see. The more you lift others, the more you elevate yourself. This isn't poetic fluff, it's reality. History remembers those who built more than empires. It remembers those who built people, who built truth into the bones of a generation, who used their voice not just to speak, but to spark. Martin Luther King didn't stand on stages for fame. He stood for truth. Mother Teresa didn't touch the dying to be known. She did it because their suffering was hers. Mandela didn't survive prison for glory. He did it because freedom demanded a sacrifice. And in each of their lives, you see the same thread: conviction, sacrifice, and an unshakable belief that life is not about what you get, it's about what you give. So let me ask you, what are you building with your breath? What are you sacrificing for something greater than yourself? Are you a consumer of life or a contributor to it? Because what truly matters in the end is how much of your life became a gift to others. How much truth you were willing to live, even when it cost you comfort. How deeply you aligned your walk with your words. How fiercely you stood, even when it meant standing alone. And this isn't about being perfect. It's about being real. The real you, the one beneath the performance, beneath the projection, beneath the armor. That's the version of you the world is starving for. That's the version of you the next generation needs to see. And if you have to let some things die to become that person, so be it. Let the mask die. Let the fear die. Let the people-pleasing, approval-chasing, watered-down version of you die. Because on the other side of that death is your rebirth, your rise, your revolution. And you don't need a stage. You don't need a spotlight. You just need one decision: that your life will be your message. That every day you wake up, you will align your actions with your soul. That every interaction will reflect your values. That every setback will be converted into strength. You want legacy? Live that way. Not someday, now. Not when it's easy, especially when it's not. Because the world is not changed by convenience. It is changed by conviction. And you were born with fire. You were born with a voice. You were born to shape the very reality you walk through. You think your story doesn't matter? You think your pain was for nothing? Let me remind you, some of the strongest medicine grows in the harshest soil. Some of the greatest songs were written from heartbreak. Some of the most powerful people rose from ruin. And maybe that's you. Maybe your purpose was buried under years of noise, rejection, and quiet desperation. But that doesn't mean it's gone. It means it's waiting for you to stop apologizing, for you to stop shrinking, for you to stop letting fear dictate the rhythm of your life. And when you rise, when you finally take responsibility for your fire, you'll see that everything you ever needed was already inside you. Not the perfect circumstances, not the right timing, but the will to begin and the courage to continue. Because what truly matters in the end is that you lived awake, not numbed, not distracted, not hiding behind busyness or blame or broken stories, but awake. Awake to who you are. Awake to what matters. Awake to the legacy you are here to leave behind. Because when that final breath comes, and it will, you will not be weighed by how perfect your performance was. You will not be measured by how flawless your image appeared. No, you will be judged by the courage of your becoming, by the raw, unfiltered truth of the life you chose to live. Did you love deeply? Did you create boldly? Did you walk into rooms and lift the atmosphere? Did you speak when it would have been easier to stay silent? Did you remain kind when the world demanded cruelty? These are the questions that echo into eternity. Not how fast you climbed, but how many you helped rise along the way. Not how much you earned, but how much you gave without needing recognition. Not how much you were liked, but how much you were respected by those who truly saw you. And respect, real respect, doesn't come from compliance. It comes from character. It's carved through consistency. It's built when your actions match your words, especially when no one is watching. And you will be watched. By the child who looks up to you without saying a word. By the stranger who needs your kindness more than they need your opinion. By the generation that follows the trail you leave behind. So leave a trail worth walking. Not paved in applause, but in authenticity. Not lined with comfort, but with conviction. Not polished, but real, raw, radiant, true, because your scars are not signs of failure. They're proof that you showed up, that you lived, that you didn't sit on the sidelines watching life happen. You stepped into the arena, bleeding, bruised, imperfect, and you fought for your place in the world. And that's what truly matters in the end. That you didn't abandon yourself. That you didn't trade your truth for trends. That you didn't outsource your identity to people too afraid to find their own. You stood. You fought. You evolved. Not because it was easy, but because it was necessary. And the man or woman who can look back with peace is the one who lived with purpose. On purpose. The one who didn't run from fear, but turned it into fuel. The one who loved without holding back. The one who forgave even when the wound was still fresh. The one who left the world better, not because they were perfect, but because they were willing. So ask yourself now, before it's too late, are you willing? Willing to become who you were meant to be. Willing to let go of the excuses. Willing to stop hiding behind potential. Willing to build a life that echoes into the lives of others. Because one day, it will all be reduced to memory. And when that moment comes, you won't care about what people thought of you. You'll care about whether you were true to what you thought of yourself. You'll care about whether you lived from the deepest place inside of you, or whether you buried it to fit in. So let this be the turning point. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. Right now, breathe and decide. No more performing, no more waiting, no more shrinking. From this day forward, you live awake. You speak with truth. You walk with strength. You move with purpose. You build what matters. You honor what's sacred. You give what only you can give. Because in the end, what truly matters is that you became the person only you could become. And that through your becoming, you gave others permission to rise. And if you live that way, then you will never die. Not really, because your life, your truth, your legacy will echo forever.